been through it a lot. הרב ליאור. זה לא שיעור, לא חייבים לדבר. The story of Pנחס, we already went through it a lot. I mean, I want to get into a new topic. So we are in page 463, פרק כ"ז, פסוק א'. ותקרבנה בנות צלופחד, בן חפר, בן גלעד, בן מכיר, בן מנשה, למשפחות מנשה בן יוסף. Long description who were they. בן חפר, בן גלעד, בן מכיר, בן מנשה, למשפחות מנשה בן יוסף, ואלה שמות בנותיו, מחלה, נועה, חוגלה ומלכה וצרצה. פרשת פנחס, the story of the daughters of Tzlofchad. So quick background, the daughter of Tzlofchad. Tzlofchad was a man who had only girls, he didn't have a boy. When he died already, and the girls knew that his inherited officially is supposed to go only to the boys, not to the girls. And they stood up and they came to in front of Moshe and they said, we deserve to get the share of our father. And Moshe didn't know the answer. Hashem agreed with them and he gave and he said they are right. The inherited of Hefer, of Tzlofchad, supposed to go to their father, to them, and not to his brothers, or not to his brothers, rather to the girls, since there are no boys in the family. So the way the Torah described, they went there, it says, Vatikravna. Very interesting description to it. Perek Chavzayin Pasuk Aleph. Vatikravna, it's a fine description of getting closer into, they got closer. So very strange. Usually it's supposed to, Vatavona, they came over to Moshe. Why the Torah described Vatikravna? This is the question of Rav Lior Tahor. Why it's called Vatikravna? Now there is a long list of names: Ben Hefer, Ben Gilad, Ben Machir, Ben Menashe, LeMishpechot Menashe Ben Yosef. Rashi emphasized what LeMishpechot Menashe Ben Yosef, just like to teach you that if somebody his name mentioned without any description on his name, we don't know who he was, but other names that were mentioned with him are tzaddikim, so that means that he is tzaddik as well. So Ben Tzlofchad, Ben Hefer, Ben Gilad, Ben Machir, Ben Menashe, we are in LeMishpechot Menashe Ben Yosef. So they teach you, just like Yosef haya tzaddik, so too they were tzaddikot. Now I understand why do I need to add LeMishpechot Menashe Ben Yosef. But they seems to add all of the names. That can be satisfied by saying, Vatikravna bnot Tzlofchad ben Hefer, LeMishpechot Menashe Ben Yosef. Adding the additional names Ben Gilad, Ben Machir, Ben Menashe doesn't seem to be בכלל necessary to their claim. Question number one. Question number two, the Medrash says, the Sifri says, just like their approach of the Bnot Tzlofchad, the daughters of Tzlofchad, came from the tzidkut of Yosef HaTzadik. What one has to do with the other, that the tzidkus of Yosef HaTzadik, Yosef HaTzadik, that's what enabled, that's what encouraged the daughters of Tzlofchad to get the Yerusha. It's nothing to do, seems to be, with the tzidkuto של יוסף הצדיק. וייטר, ואלה, ותעמונה לפני משה ולפני, פסוק ב' ותעמונה לפני משה, זה stood in front of משה ולפני אלעזר הכהן ולפני הנשיאים וכל העדה פתח אוהל מועד לאמור. So we're standing in front of משה רבינו, הנשיאים, the עדה, everybody in front of אוהל מועד. The basic shayla is, when they had a question, it says, you go to who? To Moshe Rabbeinu. He's supposed to have שרי אלפים, שרי מאות, שרי 50, שרי עשרות, till you go down to Moshe Rabbeinu. So there is a medrash who said that they really followed that route. They went one after the other, nobody knew, and they got to Moshe Rabbeinu. But the Gemara says, Pshat Pashut, they came to the Beis Medrash. They came to the Beis Medrash, everybody learning Torah, and they come, they ask Moshe a question. You know, sometimes sitting here, you see a guy walks in the middle of the learning and like, Rabbi, I want to ask you a question. Really, they nailed them. Why do they go to Moshe Rabbeinu? There is a time, there is a way to ask a question. Why do you go in front of Moshe Rabbeinu in the middle of the Beis Medrash and asking him questions? I'm not talking about the tznius issue that was here, you know, the girls coming to the Beis Medrash, come on. But why they were waiting for such a momentum instead of go, talk to Moshe Rabbeinu, ask him, huh?
No, from his wife.
אבינו מת במדבר, so they claim the father died in the desert, והוא לא היה בתוך העדה הנועדים על אדוני בעדת קורח, כי בחטאו מת ובנים לא היו לו. So our father died, and he wasn't part of the sinners of Adat Korach, so he wasn't part of the Mitlonenim, and he wasn't part of Adat Korach, and he just died because of his own individual sin. Shaili is basically they took dirty for no reason. Why? Adat Korach, what happened to everybody in Korach? Died. What happened to Mitlonenim? They got their own punishment. What happened to the children of Mitlonenim? They got Yerusha. And if so, what do they need to emphasize? He didn't sin like them. I mean, just talk. Say your point. What is their point? Our father died. He didn't have a son. Give me a son. Nachon? What do they need to talk dirty about? He didn't sin. He didn't do anything wrong like others. It's irrelevant to the request. What is your request? When a father died, he has no boys, he's going to go to the girls. That should be the request. Why the Bechla bringing it over there? And then they threat Moshe Rabbeinu. What is threat of Moshe Rabbeinu? למה יגרע שם אבינו מתוך משפחתו כי אין לו בן? So the Gemara says that they tell Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, you got to be fair. Either you're going to give us the Yerusha, and if not, our mother should get Hibum from his brother. What was? One has to do with the other. You asking for your right to receive his Yerusha as a daughter. Your mother has a right to be mityabem. Okay, let the mother mityabem. Why is that a claim against Moshe Rabbeinu that if you don't let us take the Yerusha, let him mother mityabem? Nobody ever said that you cannot.
You do Yibum when there's girls?
What?
You do Yibum when there's girls?
No. A good point. I didn't realize. So there are no Yibum where there are girls. So they're tiny. Either you're going to let us.
They're saying make an exception or for Yibum or for the Yerusha.
Makes sense to me the Yerusha, but their topic is really not has nothing to do with the Yibum. All of their issue is with the Yerusha. They should demand the Yerusha. Now this is an unbelievable Rashi. The Torah says ki en lo ben. Why we are demanding it? Because he has no son. Says Rashi Zegmor in Bava Basra. The last Rashi on the line. Im haya lo ben lo hiyu tovot. If he would have a son, they wouldn't be demand. אומר רש"י, לא טוב, לא מלמד שחכמניות היו, they were so smart. What's so smart about it? If they had a ben והיו טובות, they are dumb. It's not that they are smart, that if they ben, לא היו טובות. Smart meaning you act beyond the normal thinking. What is the normal thinking? If there is a boy, they don't deserve. They have no claim to begin with. It's not that אם היה לו בן לא היו טובות. רש"י says, היו חכם. The Gemara says, חכמניות, they were smart, that only because he had no son, they were tovot. Obviously, if you have, the claim is because he has no son. If he has no son, he goes to the son. This is an unbelievable question. You're making him smart, but not acting stupid.
I don't understand the question.
If he had a son, and they would have asked for Yerusha, they would have told him, what's wrong with you guys? He has a son. So Rashi said they were smart, because they demand because he had no son. If he would have had son, they wouldn't demand. That means if it wouldn't mean, so they are smart. No, they are stupid if they would have, but doesn't make them smart, but not being stupid. Hopefully, you know today. Now, unbelievable. ויקרב משה את משפטן אל השם. Moshe Rabbeinu wants to bring their mishpat to Hashem. And Rashi says, this parasha was ראויה להיכתב על ידי Moshe Rabbeinu. But who is the parasha was written by? בנות צלופחד. Why dafka this parasha ראויה להיכתב על ידי Moshe Rabbeinu? That seems that there is a semi specialty in this parasha. The Moshe Rabbeinu is suitable for him to write this parasha. Why? Who was Moshe Rabbeinu? What was the special part of him that he should write dafka this parasha than the daughters of Tzlofchad?
What do you mean he should write it? What does it even mean?
ראויה, meaning he should be the one who said the
He's
parasha.
fit. What do you mean say it?
אני לא מבין, הנה, זה מה השאלה, why דווקא משה רבינו? משה רבינו, כל התורה כולה נאמרה על ידו, right? So why דווקא is saying, no, this is better for him, but they have a זכות. So it's interesting to see that when the Torah says, ויאמר השם אל משה, כן, בנות צלופחד דוברות. What can בנות צלופחד דוברות? They are talking, right? Says Rashi, מגיד שראתה עינן, מה שלא ראתה עינו של משה. מה קורה פה? Their eyes saw something that the eyes of Moshe didn't see. I mean, there is a vision over here that they had and he didn't have. What's wrong? Meaning, what Moshe didn't see that you're saying that the girls saw something different. They had certain special prophecy that they were able to see. So,
Isn't that understandable? Why? Because
no, why I understand? Why is the description of an eye? Their eyes saw, they knew something that he didn't know. Yeah, but seeing, he said, Eino shel Moshe saw something that they didn't see. It's a very sharp description. Okay. It says also, the last part on the Rashi, it says, Ken bnot tzlofcha dovrot, in Pasuk Zayin. It says, Rashi, yafe tav'u. What does לתבוע in Hebrew?
To sue.
To sue, they claimed. The way it's written is vatikravna. Arav Lior Ator explained yesterday that there is a classic way to come and approach, and there is a very, falah. It uses the word falah, aggressive way. So he said they came classic, not like Sfaradim, Marokkaim, attack. Classic, vatikravna, they came gentle. But the Torah,
They waited to be noticed.
they wanted to be noticed. That's a good way. So they're not tovot po. People who are toveh, they're aggressive. They're coming across. Here, the vatikravna, on the other end, the Torah describing it as tovot. So there is an unbelievable Gemara in Yerushalmi. Meredik Gemara. The Gemara says, חכמי אומות העולם אומרים, בן ובת שווים בירושה. The Goyim hold Ben and the Bat are same in Yerusha. למה שכתוב הוא בן and lo, it doesn't have a son. That means if he has a son, both of them together are supposed to inherit it. So whatever the Gemara said, they answer to him. In the Babli also there is another way to answer, not to them, but the Gemara says how to answer the question. So what is the Goyim approach? Ben vebat shavim. So when I saw the Gemara, not in the Yerushalmi, in the Peret Mima, when I saw the Gemara, I was, because in my approach, Goyim, especially, on the last few hundred years, we have a more officially classic Goyim, which is oxymoron. Goyim by default is the lowest of the lowest. But they look classic. But an Arab mentality where we grew up always is daughter, it's a mistake, nachon? Meaning Goyim's approach, the daughter is not part of them. So I was amazed to see that the Goyim hold that Ben vebat shavim, they are the same. So there is a Sefer Talalei Orot that I saw in Otzar HaChochma, and he brings the following question. Tosfot says, Ve'ele b'nei Ana, I think I have it over here. Ana, ve'ele b'nei Tzivon ve'aya ve'ana. Ana inherited his father. So who was Ana? Seems to be a man. Tosfot proves that Ana is a woman. So woman, Ana, inherited her father. So for Ektoisves, how come Ana, a girl, inherited her father? Only a boy is supposed to inherit his father. So what you would answer to Tosfot answer that Ana was a single daughter because her brother died. So since she was the only daughter, that's why she inherited her father. Azoy state that by Goyim, this is Ana, by Goyim, Benetzivon by Goyim, only the boy inherit and not the daughter, only kid, there is no one. So how can the Gemara in Yerushalmi say that Umot HaOlam Orim Ze V'Ze Shavim? They're not Shavim. He didn't give an answer, he left it open for us to answer, Baruch Hashem. Weiter, I want to talk about a little bit girls. So there is a, by the end of the day, it's good for girls.
They don't listen to them.
They don't listen to the end. They're gonna talk right away. So the approach of the girl in the Torah, it's very interesting. The Gemara brings in Bava Basra, it's an Udvet, that Rabbi Shimon, Siman Tov Mazel Tov. No, Siman Tov. He had a bat. Because Omrim, somebody has a... Yeah, so say somebody has a girl, somebody told me that a friend has a girl, his Rabbi, famous guy, told them now you had siman tov, I hope now mazel tov. Why? Because Gemara says, bat rishona siman yafeh lepanim. So it's a good siman, but now at least we need mazel tov. We need an actual boy the next one to come. So the approach of a daughter in the Torah. So Rabbi Baruch Hashem siman tov, he had a daughter, so he was excited. So he was upset. He was sad. So he told them, Tanchumim. I'm sorry. So his father told them, well, don't worry, rivia ba'al haolam. What's rivia? Leharbot purvu. There is a girl. She's going to have a lot of baby. Mazel tov, Baruch Hashem. Come bar kapara. I told him, avad alecha. Tanchumim shel evel michamchecha avicha. He gave you tanchumim, huh? Bar Kapara was a very funny guy. He made Rabbi dance with his wife in front of him by the wedding of the daughter of Rabbi. He was Rabbi told him, by the way, never make me laugh. He said, no problem. You come over to him with a straw bucket of his head. He's like, and stop laughing. It was a very interesting guy. Bar Kapara was a very interesting character. So Bar Kapara told him, by the way, Tanchumim shel heaven yichamchecha avicha. He just wants to make you feel good. There is a state Gemara. The Gemara in the end of Kiddushim says, אי אפשר לעולם בלי בשר, בלי זכרים ובלי נקבות. You cannot have with a man without women. אשרי מי שבניו זכרים, fortune the one who has boys, אוי לו למי שבניו נקבות. אי אפשר לעולם בלי בסם ובלי בורסי. Basam is the perfume maker, and bursi is the tanner, which masriach, disgusting, smells bad. So you cannot have the world without both of them. אשרי מי שהוא בסם, אוי לו למי שהוא נקבה. So basically telling him, the Gemara says, אשרי מי שבניו בסמים, אוי למי שבניו בורסים. So basically, Rabbi is telling him, כאילו, עבד עליה, come on, basically, אוי, I'm so sorry for you that you have a daughter, as the Gemara says. So, the basic kasha is, the Gemara says, כסוב י"ז, מי שלוקח מקח מן השוק, ישבחנו בעיניו. Somebody bought a car, you see what, rebuilt title, beating all over. So, no, you like my new car? מה תגיד לו? You see, מה? וואו, gotta say, מה זה? ישבחנו בעיניו. It's a beautiful car. למה? Because, by the way, the Gemara over there in Bobasri, זה מחלוקת בין שמאי ובייס הלל, כיצד מרקדים לפני הכלה. So, בשמאי אומרים כלה כמות שהיא. When you appraise the כלה, you know, if she looks ugly, the facts are the facts, you know? כמות שהיא, סוף סוף, you know? טוב, למי תתנדו, למי תבר מלוא. It's better not to sit alone, you sit with somebody, you know, אשריך, what a חסד, צדיק אתה, you know? That's just שמאי. בייס הלל says, לא, קל לנועה וחסודו. You gotta say כנב וחסודה. It's דף י"ז, מה הסימן? What do you need for חתונה? מניין עם 7 ברכות. י"ז. So that's a מחלוקת. So, אמרו להם, בית שמאי לבית הלל, מדבר שקר, תרחק. מה? אסור לשקר. אמרו להם, בית הלל לבית שמאי, הרי הקונה מקח מן השוק, somebody bought something from the market, ישבחנו בעיניו ויגננו בעיניו. Should you give him a compliment if it's bad or not? רבו אומר, ישבחנו בעיניו. Same thing over here, we're going to give a compliment. בית הלל didn't deal with the problem. Even לוקח מקח מן השוק, you are lying also. They answer with another kasha. What is the right that you're supposed to lie? Why מקח מן השוק you're supposed to lie? Pshat is like that. When somebody buys something and he asks you, what do you think? He doesn't care what do you think. He wants you to tell him what he thinks. So he comes over to you to hear from you. Yeah, I want to hear. Very nice, very good. What do you think is irrelevant for him? That's not the question. What you heard him asking, what do you think? He meant to ask what I think about it. And that's why you got to give him compliment. It's important, you know, shalom bayit. Sometimes your wife asks you something. You think she asks you, B, do we need more salt? Right. You're stupid saying, yeah. Shkoyach. No. She asks you, I need a compliment. Tell me, whoa, delicious. No, doesn't need anything. Wow, you are amazing. This is what she's asking for. She's asking you to get in B. So that's a pshat. Kala na'ava chasuda. Kala na'ava chasuda said Beshamai to Beis Hillel. Beshamai thinks that when you're telling the Chatan who is his wife, you have to say the truth. Says Beis Hillel, no, it's not about what you think about her. It's about what he thinks about her. What hopefully Chatan thinks about the Kala. She's beautiful, nachon? That's why you're telling him she's beautiful. You got to train him for what he thinks. So until we got to it. So the Gemara asks, if somebody bought something, he's supposed to make him feel good about it, nachon? How come Bar Kapore make him feel bad. אומרת, כפורה, אז מה תסביר? describe, it was funny, מחיי מתים, כן? תענה בר כחת 60 אתה דואג שירה לחצאים, בר כפרה, איך הוא יכול לעשות כזה דבר? How can he do such a thing, make him feel bad? So, see the Maharsha asked this question. I just want to answer you something, the Maharsha, just for the fun of it. It's unbelievable. He said, there is a machloket if you need to have puruvu, one boy and one girl, or two boys or one girl. So he said, Rabbi had one boy and one girl. Now he had, Rabbi had one boy and one girl. That was his Rab Shimon, that was his second girl. If he would have had one more boy, he would have mekayem the mitzvah of puruvu. When Adam Arishon was mekayem the mitzvah of puruvu, because he had a daughter with every, he had Cain and Hevel, and each one of them he had a daughter. Okay? Now, when Hevel died, he's not mekayem the mitzvah of puruvu. Only when Shet came to the world, his third son, then he was mekayem puruvu. But when Hevel died, was only puruvu only according to Hevel that he's dead. It's considered puruvu because one boy and one girl. That's why he says, Tanchumim shel Hevel nichamchemcha avicha. It's Tanchum of Hevel. So therefore, it's not a Tanchum. So that's interesting, chap, but the simple pshat, what's going on over here? How come Bar Kapore act in such a way? Weiter, there is another Gemara over there. Vashem berach et the Gemara in Bobasra in the same place. Vashem berach et Avraham bakol. מה זה bakol? One step before, the Maharsha brings over there that Hashem told Paro, אתה טיפש. Why? Paro גזר להרוג את הזכרים. Hashem told Paro, טיפש אתה. You should have גוזר להרוג את הנקבות, because one man can be with 100 girls. Right? 100 men cannot be with more than one girl. So basically, if you want to stop Am Yisrael, you should have decided to kill the girls, not to kill the boys. So obviously, Paro wasn't a tipesh, but Hashem said he's tipesh. So how do you read Achashverosh? I mean, he was a genius guy. How do you read Paro? So the two more pieces. The Gemara in Bobasra said, Avraham Avinu, והשם ברך את אברהם בכל. מה זה בכל? רש"י אומר. The Gemara brings two שיטות. אחד אומר שהייתה לו בת. ואחד אומר שלא הייתה לו בת. How is that possible? If בכל is בת, is ברכה או לא ברכה, תחליטו. So the Gemara, in order to understand, there is a Gemara in Nide. The Gemara says in Nide, בת, בן נולד, מפני מה בן נולד הכל שמחים, לא, הגמרא says, מפני מה, רק 7 ימים, מפני מה דתומה of a boy, it's only 7 days, because שבן נולד הכל שמחים. Why the tuma of a girl is 14 days? כשבת נולדה הכל הצבים. Everybody said. So this is the Gemara. By the way, I think I shared it with you once. When I had my third daughter, my mother is Iraqi. Iraqi are horrible. I'm just going to tell you, regarding boys and girls, a girl told me that, a girl, a lady, older lady, she said, my father never forgave my mother for bringing him only girls. I mean, they used to come to the hospital, girl, bye, I see you at home. Mamash, this is culture. My wife was in the hospital here, and an Arab was with his wife, and he was upset at her. My wife, she gave birth. It's 2 beds, זה לעומת זה עשה אלוקים. And she was upset. He was upset at her that she had a girl, and he's fighting with her. מה אתה רוצה ממנה? Ovadia once says in שיעור, I heard him. זה הולך מתעצבן. למה אשתו הביאה בת? היא אשמה, אתה אשם. It's her fault, it's your fault. למה? The Gemara says in Ide, if the אישה מזריעה תחילה, it's a girl. If the איש מזריעה תחילה, it's a boy. So you are at fault. So מה אתה רוצה ממנו? My mother, when I called her that I had a girl, I'm talking to my sibling 3 weeks after. מה נשמע? By the way, I had a girl. You had a girl? Ima didn't tell us. When you have a boy, she calls all siblings. A girl, she doesn't call.
So tell you have boys.
Huh?
Just tell you have a boy.
Yeah, so when I had my third girl, he's Iraqi, so I had my third girl, I called her, Ima, ברוך השם, מה זה טוב, מה נולד? בת, מזל טוב, איזה יופי. Okay. She called me half an hour later. Ariel, I want to talk to you. I'm like, כן, אמא. אריאל, לא נורא, זה בסדר. אתה מבין? זה unbelievable, this is. So, אמרתי לה, אמא, אם את לא היית בת, לא הייתי פה, מה את בוכה? כאילו, מה, what do you want? I remember my grandmother crying that one of my cousins had her fifth girl. מה, I came to her, she cried, אמא, למה הסבתא בוכה? Yeah, she had a fifth girl. I'm like, ברוך השם, מה את רוצה? So that's a culture. So what's the pshat the Gemara says? When a boy comes to the world, כולם עצובים. When a girl comes to the... כולם שמחים, כולם עצובים. מה זה? I mean, you're missing Sholem, Zocher, and Breeze. You're right. You're missing some action. But what is the real pshat? I want to say on the side note that all of this boy and girl, it's really a social pressure. It has nothing to do with what you have at home. Because can anybody, Baruch Hashem, we have children, those who don't have Bezrat Hashem soon, can think for a second, you want your daughter to be a boy after a year, okay? You love her so much, you don't want her to be a boy, and vice versa. It's not that I want the boy to be a girl, but nobody wants the girl to be a boy. So it's really, it doesn't make a difference bichlal for you. Pleasure for you, nachat for your kids, it's zero, it doesn't make sense bichlal. It doesn't make a difference if a boy or girl. It's only social need, nothing to do with, it's very important to know, a month after זה כבר לא משנה. I mean, a month maybe still, they don't barely smile. But as soon as you have man, we take time to have a relationship with the baby, you already connect to the baby, and it's a different story. So what is the pshat? So we're taking the following. When the Gemara says that Bar Kapara respond back to Rab Shimon, Tanchumim shel heaven nichamcha avicha. It's false. It's heaven. באמת, the Gemara says, אוי לו למי, אי אפשר לעולם without זכרים, without נקבות. אי אפשר לעולם בלא בסם ובלא בורסאי, אשרי מי. Why are you saying the second part of the Gemara? If the Gemara would start off first with basam and bursi and continue to zachar and nekeva, I understand why he quotes both. But the Gemara start off in Kiddushin, first zachar and then nekeva. So why is he quoting the part of basam and bursai? It has nothing to do with the message that he's giving him, that zachar and nekeva, that ashrei mi shebanav zcharim, oil mi shebanav nekeva. But what really bothers me in that Gemara, if you think about that, be'emet, basam and bursai, what's the job of the basam? Perfume. Bursai, what's the job of the tanner? To have leather, נכון? אי אפשר לעולם בלא בשר, בלא basam. The world cannot exist without a perfume guy. Why not? למה לא? You can manage without perfume. How many people don't put perfume? You go to Bnei Brak during the 9 days. During the 9 days, אחי, אתה...
You need it.
We used to go in
12 months, I don't know about 9 days.
12 months, that's very nice. In the... Our Ovadia saying, he said, Ovadia, he said, אלה אשכנזים, לא רוצים להתקלח, שהם יהיו מסרחים. אבל אתם, תתקלחו, אנחנו, זה יש הרבה ירח. So, I mean, remember in the Mir Yeshiva, I used to go down to the dining room, a wave of sweat comes out, during the 9 days. It's down, it's in the basement. אתה מריח את הכל, אתה... So, the world can continue without... The world can continue without basam. נכון? The world continue. אי אפשר לעולם בלא בסם? No, second part. Can the world continue without the bursi? Yeah. People who have no leather, what do they use? Wool. Wool, any other material. Linen, any other stuff. Why the Gemara says אי אפשר לעולם זה בלא זה? So I think to the Gemara the following. The world can continue with each one by itself. That's possible. When the Gemara says אי אפשר לעולם בלא בסם ובלא בורסי, it means the world cannot function with both of them together. Meaning, what gives the basam, the parnasa, the bad smell that created in the world? What gives the tenor, the parnasa? So meaning, which means, can the basam be in the world without the bursi?
Yes.
Basam, no.
No, the other way around.
Yeah, it needs a smell.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The bursi enable the basam to have a smell. נכון? Because of the bad smell, that's why you need a basam. So who is more important over here? The basam or the bursi? The bursi. No, the most important. only because of the smell. Huh?
בלי הבשם, הבורסי לא היה יכול לעבוד.
No, but you're right. Bli abasam, Borsi wouldn't be able to function. I need both. But who enables who? Who needs to be first over here? The Borsi before the basam. Yefeh? So even though, one with the other cannot function. You cannot have basam without Borsi, Borsi without basam. Yet, what's the most important figure over here? Who enable over here? The Borsi. The Gemara says, Ashrei mi banav basam. Why? Because although the Borsi enabled the basam, by the end of the day, what's count? What's comfortable in the world? What makes people feel good? When do people feel good? By the basam or the Borsi? By the basam. That makes them feel good. So although the Borsi is much more important than the basam, yet the basam is the preferred son. So if you have an option for your son, which college to send them to be basam. But the Borsi does much more to the world. No, because the basam is to prevent what the Borsi does with the leather. Yet the important person is the Borsi, but the basam is the one who gets the credit. That's the pshat. אי אפשר לעולם בלי זכרים ובלי נקבות. Let's analyze for a second. Who is more important, men or women? Huh? No? Women are more important than men. Because women can, if you have one man in the world and 100 women, how many kids can you get in the world? בשפע רמה, אחי. 100 שערים. 10,000, 10,000. אה?
זה אני מרמיע.
כן. 10,000 kids, נכון? If you have 100 men, 1 woman, you limit it to 10 maybe. So the most powerful tool in the world is the Isha. That's a Rivia Ba'al Olam. Isha is the most powerful tool. She enabled the men on the planet. She's a more powerful tool.
She's a multiplier.
She's a multiplier.
It's only to get more men. So the whole thing's ikr. The men's ikr.
No, you're right, but let's see for a second. So the most important is Isha, not Ish. But when the men is being powered by the woman. Because men without the woman is like Borsi and Basam. Just like want to compare it. Scharim and Nekevot are Borsi and Basam. So the women are much more powerful than the men. So as the man is the greatest one. But he's the one who gets the power from the woman. So who do you want your son to be? Boy or a girl? And this is next level the important
You want
part.
your son or your child?
Your child.
Okay.
So the Gemara call it banim. No, interesting, the Gemara call it banim. אשרי מי שבניו זכרים, אוי לו למי שבניו נקבות. Yes. So the pshat like that. באמת, this powerful machine that's called woman, when a man has such a powerful machine in his house, who is the most powerful machine? I mean, the girl is the most powerful machine. By the way, in practical level, she takes care of you, she does everything for you. Boys, achי, bracha levatala. If you need anything from them, it's like, mamash. Girls are there naturally. They come, they help. If I said anybody can get me, the girls jump. The boys, אחי, אליהו, אתה יכול להגיד לי, אבא, מה אתה רוצה? לא שמעת? אני כבר, אחי, עד שזה וזה, אני הולך, זה לא שווה כבר, בטל ברוב. And so, בכלל, my son יהודה, אתה רוצה להביא לזה? לא. יושבים פה, אחי.
He's younger.
Yeah, he's younger, at least he's honest. So, this is boys. Girls, Baruch Hashem, they're there for their father. I see it, my daughters give me already toothpick when I finish the meal. Boys, there is no way in the world going to come and give you toothpick.
לא, הוא בא לעצמו.
לעצמו זה חזק. כן, מה איתי? אתה גם פה, אוקיי, בסדר, So באמת, girls are the most powerful asset that the father can have. It's much greater powerful, which called Rivya. The multiplying is the greatest asset. So said Rabbi to his son, Reb Shimon, you got the most powerful asset, the multiplier, Rivya, Ba'al HaOlam. This Rivya, who is that going to work for? For the father or for somebody else? Somebody else. Her name would not going to be Kohen if she's going to marry to Levi. Her name will be Levi. Meaning, I was telling Lear yesterday that my mother's side, she's מאוד דומיננטית, איך אומרים? Dominant in the family. Dominant gene. All of my mother's side, my mother has 4 sisters and 1 brother. all of my cousins, each one, ראש כולל, that's the genes. My father's side, בכלל לא. But by the end of the day, what do they call my mother's children? Edry. This is her genes, our work, her effort. She empowers us. She's the one who pushing us to do crazy stuff. And the credit has zero to do with her family name. Nothing. Goes 100% to Edry, which my father has nothing to do with it. My father, the last thing you should do, to open a kollel, מה עם כסף? מה תעשה? You know, I was talking about money issue with, you know, we have the kollelim together. It's like, מה, ככה הרבה כסף, איך, מה, that's only my mother, but he gets the credit, Edry. So says Bar Kapora said to Rab Shimon, תנחומים של heaven יחנך עמיך. What he told you, it's not correct. Why it's not correct? You're right, she's the most powerful machine. But by the end of the day, what happened to it? She goes into somebody else. When she goes into somebody else, you have zero left out of you. But you have a zchut. Because through you, you made somebody else better. But it's not yours. So what you feel good about having such a thing, מה זה הבל? Moisture, נכון? That's fade away after time. It doesn't last for life. What you're happy is not going to last for a while. Because as soon as you transferred, it's going to go to somebody else. That's why Zachar, he says, אשרי מי שבניו זכרים, אוי לו למי שבניו נקבות. Zachar means לזכור, זכר. זוכרים את האבא, come after him. נקבה זה נקוב וחלול, it's a hole. Everything goes through her, but she gets nothing out of it. There is no title to come for you when your daughter does anything. So that's why he said, what your father told you, it's temporary. But the truth is, the right thing, you need to have a boy. But even a girl is good, because although she's nekeva, but at least later on, after that expired, that happiness is with you, she will beat somebody else, and that's also a great zchut for you as a father. But don't fool yourself that she is yours and she's multiplier. Eventually you realize she is not, but it's still a zchut. Why? Just like Bursi, that's why he told him the Bursi. Because she's empowered the man to be who he is. That's why he brought him the Gemara over there. Just like Bursi is the most important figure, but the recognition come to the Basam, same thing, the Nekeva, she's the most important figure, and that's why you should be excited, but eventually the credit is going to go to the Zachar. The word happiness and sadness, smechim and latzvut, comes, simcha is when you connect to yourself. Sadness when you disconnect for something. Somebody leaves, you know, the house, flies somewhere. People sad to see him leaving. That's sadness. So the Gemara says, when Ben ba la'olam, kulam smechim. Why? Who is the Ben belong to? His father, carried after his father. But everybody said. Why they said? Because there is such a powerful machine that eventually will be separate from her. Sadness comes from a connection that was disconnected. From zero connection, you have no sadness. If somebody flies, you don't sad. Somebody close to you flies. My wife flies, you know. She flew to Eretz Yisrael to take care of the kids. But, but also, there is a sadness, and it took a disconnection from somebody that you close to, then you have sadness. So therefore the Gemara says, Bat kulam atzevim, that this sadness comes since we are so connected to our daughters, that's why we have sadness. The whole idea of Nida, by the way, Nida it's 7 and 10 and 14 days, Nida it's a time of, Nida it's separation. So therefore, separation by her, it is much greater. Therefore, her separation it's 14 days versus a boy come to the world, it's only 7 days. So this is the identity of a woman in the Torah perspective. That's why we're saying every morning, Shelo asani isha. So people think, put down ladies. It's stupid. We don't put down ladies. It's the opposite. She's the most powerful thing. By the end of the day, it's going to go to somebody else. Versus other ladies' powerful stuff going to come to me. So therefore I say, Shelo asani isha. It's not that we don't appreciate her. It's the opposite. We admire a woman to be such a powerful thing, but at the end of the day, she is going to somebody else. That's why we say, Shelo asani isha. So it doesn't come from looking down at her. We come from looking up. Not to her, at her. לחזור על זה, שלא עשני אישה, everybody thinks that I'm not a woman. Woman, it's a lower thing. So that's the incorrect understanding. שלא עשני אישה, it's not because she's lower, it's the opposite. She's much more powerful than me. But her power doesn't go to her, go to somebody else. Anybody know who was the wife of Rabbi Akiva Eiger? לא, אף אחד לא יודע, נכון? She made him Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Rabbi Akiva Eiger ראיתי איזו הקדמה, she used to talk throughout the night. כל הלילה, היום מדברים. But he came for shacharit on time, you know. So it was throughout the night talking. But she made him to be Rabbi Akiva Eiger. But where is she in history? Do we see ladies in the history? Not many. That's why שלא עשני אישה. Your koach, yeah, Rabbi Akiva's wife, excellent. That's why your koach of a woman, her koach of a woman, doesn't stay by her, go to somebody else. So we thank Hashem that as men we can keep our koach to ourselves and it doesn't go to anybody else. That's the pshat שלא עשני אישה. בסדר?
זה עניין של כבוד?
מה אתה אומר?
זה עניין של כבוד כאילו?
מה?
זה עניין כאילו של כבוד, שהכבוד לא יהיה
לא,
לכבוד.
זאת אומרת, אין לה המשכיות אישית. המשוכיה שלה נעלמת, אני מפחד לומר להעביר, אבל אין לה שום את הזהות שלה. כל הזהות עוברת בכלל למישהו אחר. היא לא נשאר לה מעצמה כלום. By the way, the reason we're saying it in the morning, it's important to note that in the morning it's a time of ability, time of fulfillment, time of creation, time of talents. That's why we're talking about talents in the world. And her talent, own talent is limited to, not limited, it's not unlimited, but for somebody else. And that's why when talking about talents, we appreciate that we can contain our talents to ourselves.
Can you explain how we remember Rabbi Akiva's wife versus Rabbi Akiva Eiger's wife? Because over here, one did live an impression, so like, can you just kind of touch on
I don't know the history of Rabbi Akiva Eiger's wife, but
you're right, like, I don't know.
But obviously, even Rabbi Akiva's wife, with all the respect, we mentioned her only once in. You know, the daf זה?
Two Gemars.
נדורים, סמך ד'? סמך ד' או נון? נון. מי
Or
זה
even
היה סמך ד'? מי לא?
well, there's women where you see they left their mark, and we learn about them today. So
Yeah,
you
but
can't just
even
explain-
that, just a little bit. All of the Torah of Rabbi Akiva that came because of her, we just see Rabbi Akiva. I don't know Rabbi Akiva בעלה
Right,
של
you're
רחל.
right, he's the main
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I'm saying.
But the reason I ask this is because there's going to be other girls out there where they're going to want to feel like they leave a mark. They want to feel something, you know? Okay, not that
So obviously,
nothing comes out of
no,
you,
so I
you
want to
know?
emphasize,
Just wanna
the,
feel like I've learned
the
something.
women, they don't just leave a mark. They create the future.
You're right.
They enable all of the future. Their name is not out there because their strength and ability and their
But
qualities
how can they be
go
remembered
through
as
a man.
opposed to not being remembered?
No, they're not supposed to be remembered. The story of Rabbi Akiva and his wife is not to remember her. It's to tell other lady how they're supposed to behave. But we are not remembering women in our history. In history, we're remembering men because every man contains his woman with them together. So that's why she become secondary to him. It's called tefillah.
What about
She-
the Imaut?
Huh?
The Imaut?
Also, we don't pray. We have a shul in Temple Solel. Our school is in Temple Solel. So I had a meeting once, and I was meeting at a small shul in Temple Solel. I opened the siddur to have some fun. Same siddur. Baruch אתה השם אלוקינו מלך העולם. אלוקי אברהם, אלוקי יצחק, אלוקי יעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה. יש משהו כזה? אחי, חופשי שם, אתה רואה את כל האימהות והסבתות בפנים. So, and that's their mistake. When we say Avraham means Sarah also. When we say Yitzchak, it means with Rivka. It's contained all together. The only thing there, that's the next part.
I just approve your point. Elijah on his side. You said he magdim his wife. When he opened up the book, you said he Mishadah the Rabbanit first.
That's opposite. That's absolutely.
No, that's good. He just משבח אותה, but no one talks about her.
No, but he's
Talks about Rav Ovadia.
Exactly. Mishadah his wife and made him who he is today.
Which makes it
Right.
seem that it's the husband's job to make her feel remembered by him, but not nobody else.
Right, through him she will remember.
I mean, women are not meant to
By the way, the Gemara says אשת חבר כחבר. If you see אישה וחבר, you have to get up for her just like חבר עצמו. I got up for my wife. I got up for my wife this week. So like, what you doing? I'm like, אשת חבר כחבר, you know?
She couldn't fight you.
Huh?
She
Yeah,
couldn't
like,
fight you.
if I don't need to get up for you, that means you think I'm nobody, you know. So that I got her to be stuck. I had to get her. It was a moment. So the Okay,
I mean,
so
you're right that when a big rabbi's wife walks in,
you have to get up for her. Same as Chaver.
that's a good point.
Okay. I was in Beth Israel. I was in the shul in Miami Beach, Beth Israel, and Reb Shmuel Kaminetsky was there, and he saw the wife of Reb Noach Weinberg walking in. I used to drive her because her son landed in the yeshiva. What an interesting lady. I mean, she made Reb Noach Weinberg her children. So she walked in, and Reb Shmuel Kaminetsky stand up. Everybody stand up for her. It was like, wow, because he passed away like 10 years. No, it's 25 years. How many years for Reb Noach Weinberg? No, not 25 years. 25 years. So, about 25 years. So 25 years, it was, this story happened 20 years ago. So it was 5 years after he died, and sees everybody waking up. What a feeling she feels, but that she's part of them. Bnot Tzlofchad. So everybody approached Bnot Tzlofchad. They were
Feminists.
They were feminists, taking care, make sure the girl has a share, and they're going to be part of it. It's so wrong. The beauty of Bnot Tzlofchad, Chachmaniyot, Tzidkaniyot, Hakol, they didn't ask and demand anything for themselves. They had a ta'ana to Moshe Rabbeinu. Do you know why girls are not registered after the father? And the name doesn't go after the father? Because an identity of a father goes to his kids, to his boys. And that's how you give people a feeling of worth, of self-worth. If I am body and I'm giving a word to my son, the son carries the name of the father. And we see people, unbelievable, some people who are so far away from mitzvot, they were going to go to say Kaddish, they're going to say everything on time. So it says Bnot Tzlofchad to Moshe, there is a huge issue that you are creating. If we are not getting the inheritance of our father going to feel meaningless. It's worthless because he has no continuation in the world. You're right that boys are much more powerful to give over to the next generation. But the reason we are not part of it because we give the recognition to the boys are much more powerful. But if the boys are not powerful to give our father recognition, continuation, that means that the following one to give him a sense of continuation is us, the girls. So what the girls of Bnot Tzlofchad demand, they never demand to receive the Yerusha from their father. That wasn't the topic, the dialogue over here. The dialogue was only one thing, to make sure that our father will have a continuation. But, says Bnot Tzlofchad, unbelievable, has nothing to do with our father. You know who is that for?
Children?
Am Israel. This is a problem that Am Israel has. We are not talking about ourselves. We're talking about the future generation. If anybody in the world will continue having girls only, and the inherited, we're not going to go to him, he will walk dead on the street, understanding that he's nobody. That's what they were saying. Yibum. They were tiny. If you said we are not in his continuation, there must be a Yibum to our father. What's the whole idea of Yibum? Le'akim Shem Le'achit. The Gemara says Gera Shava Shem Shem. We have to create a name for his brother. What's the double of Yibum? He carry him forward. Says Bnot Tzlofchad, if we are not going to carry him forward, somebody else needs to carry him forward. Because there is no way to have a person going on the street without carrying somebody else forward. Yosef HaTzadik. So therefore, when they list the names of who were they, because if you're cutting all legacy, it's not an issue of Hefer, of Tzlofchad. You know who would be in problem? His father, his grandfather, great-grandfather. It's an inherited problem if a guy cannot continue himself through his girls, you're cutting him away from the world. So they said he took the tzidkato shel Yosef. When Yosef, I have two ways to explain it, 1 second. Does Yosef has a tribe of his own? No. Where the tribe of Yosef? Ephraim and Menashe. Meaning, he gave away his own place just to take care of their children to have their own makom, each one to have their own makom in Klal Israel. Which means Yosef HaTzadik didn't care about his own place in the Shvatim. He cared about his children's place in the Shvatim so they can continue, they have their own makom. Says the Gemara, the motivation of the daughters of Tzlofchad, same as the motivation of Yosef HaTzadik. Just like Yosef was motivating to empower his kids, it's not about him. Same thing, the daughter of Tzlofchad was nothing about him. It was only for Moshe Rabbeinu. So he said, Vatikravna, and then afterwards it says, they were tovot. Are they? But once Vatikravna came, like Rav Leo said, they came on a gentle way. And then he said it's a claim. There were two conversations over here. One thing was temporary for themselves, for the father, and they have a claim on the future of Am Yisrael. What's the future of Am Yisrael? The future of Am Yisrael, anything that happened for Am Yisrael. They claim for Am Yisrael, but Tikravna for themselves. How do we see it from the Pasuk? When they came, he says, Vatikravna bnot Tzlofchad. When we said, when Hashem responding to Moshe Rabbeinu, Pasuk Zayin begins, they are right. Pasuk Chet, the following Pasuk, it's a message for Bnei Israel. You see, from Pasuk Zayin, Ken bnot Tzlofchad Ovrot, it's one thing. And there is another thing, they claim for Bnei Israel. ואל בני ישראל תדבר לאמור, איש כי ימות ובן אין לו, ועברתם את נחלתו לביתו. Why do we need to say it again? We already said before in Pasuk Zayin that they are right, תיתן להם נחלת אביהם. There are two separate claims. In terms of the personal stuff which belonged to them, they were able, ותקרבנה. Because it wasn't about them. In terms of Am Yisrael, they demanded for Am Yisrael. The Torah says, this parasha ראויה להיכתב על ידי משה רבנו. Why על ידי משה רבנו? Who were the children of Moshe Rabbeinu? Huh? Do we know him? Do we know of them?
Yeah.
Who? Not much. You don't know. Right. Moshe Rabbeinu is a man that his children didn't continue him. Who continued Moshe Rabbeinu? Yeshua. Not his children.
What do you mean continue him?
Because there is no more.
Continue his legacy.
His legacy.
He had grandchildren. So you're saying the legacy of who he is?
Who
not
is?
The,
Yeah.
Not the physical.
No, yeah. The legacy of who he
Did you say
didn't.
it was because his wife wasn't a fool figure in his life?
No, I think she seems to be a world,
No,
as far as I know.
He left his wife, saying because he left his wife at a point, and he had no one really to get him to, I guess you could say, the fullest.
So I'm not sure, זה קשה, צריך להיות יותר מקורות לזה. But he's saying over here that they basically, he's the one who experienced what a man needs to feel about is the next generation. That's why, ראויה להיכתב על ידי משה רבנו. But the Torah says, אינו, איפה זה? מה she says, מגיד שראתה אינן, מה שלא ראתה אינו. What he didn't see that they see. If he would have seen himself to be the future, to children to be the future of them, he wouldn't have this question in halacha, who's supposed to go to Yerushalayim when it comes to daughters. Why he didn't see himself? Look at his children. But this is, I think, if I may say, that Moshe Rabbeinu basically, he was acting as a woman. On that aspect, he didn't care about. It was zero about him. It was all about Am Yisrael. That's why ראויה פרשה הזו שתיכתב על ידי משה. Just like them, word was nothing about them. He was nothing about himself. It's all about Am Yisrael. That's why he lost that his children wouldn't be part of it. The only thing, they have a better vision. They were able to see future generation what Moshe Rabbeinu was unable to see. I want to see if we covered everything. Yeah, because it's not about us. It's about the legacy that needs to be continued of the sense of continuation. So continuation begins from Yosef, Menashe, all the way down to them. It's not continuing himself. I didn't emphasize that. The continuation of a man is not continuing himself. It's a continuation of his father and the generation before. When you cut somebody that has no continuation, who is the one who's getting hurt? Not only him. All of the previous generation are the one, the lineage are the one who's getting hurt.